I want some music. Dun, 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 dun. Go.
I am Hiro Fujita. I have ALS. This is how I communicate now. I have lost my movement, my breathing, my voice, but not my desire to communicate. I am 99% grateful for all that has happened in my life, but 1% angry. Please let my friends tell you why.
Hi, I'm both Hiro Fujita today. My name's Dave. I've been fortunate enough to know Hiro for 10 years. I was his boss for 10 years. He's been my friend for 10 years. He's been my hero for many years now. We're going to tell you a story about Hiro's life, but in the context, also perhaps give you a few thoughts about struggle and about the struggle of trying to achieve more life, given the circumstances that happened to us. Hiro had a very fortunate upbringing. He came from a very good family. His father worked all over the world and Hiro followed. He went to school in Switzerland, in the UK, in the US. He came back to Japan to finish high school, and you can see that he really put a lot of effort into his studies. It paid off because he managed to get into at least one university, which meant that he went to Hawaii to try to gain some sophistication in his life. As far as I can tell, he majored in smoking, minored in drinking. But he had a great life. He enjoyed everything he did. And about 10 years ago, not long after I moved to Japan, I was fortunate that a contact of mine suggested that I get in touch with a young Japanese guy who was working in Hawaii but was looking to try to get into advertising. I phoned him, we had a conversation. I vaguely said something about, well, if something comes up, yeah, we'll give it a thought. 2 days later, he'd flown from Hawaii, sitting in my office, where's the job? So I gave it to him. And he proved an exceptional employee. Hiro was one of those guys that fitted the advertising world, not because of the smoking and drinking, although that helped a lot. But he actually knew what it meant to grasp popular culture. In fact, after he started for me, and I realised that, well, he wasn't really formally trained for anything, we gave him a special assignment. We said, look, the thing you're good at is going out clubbing every night, so go and do that. And turn up on a Thursday afternoon and explain to me what the hell is going on in the clubs in Japan. Who's hot, who's not? What are they drinking, what are they not drinking? What are they wearing, what are they not wearing? And how do we get to those people? And he proved exceptional in that role. Very soon he was leading accounts, he was creating the strategy planning for some of the most famous brands in this country. He had a career, he became the youngest planning director we had in the company in Japan. He had it all. The live wire, the guy that I depended on, the person that so many people in his life thought was always going to be Mr. Excitement. And then he started to feel numb in the fingers. And he'd come to work and sort of say, oh, I'm too hungover. He started to feel tired. He felt drained. He ended up going for tests. And weeks of tests gave him the news. You have ALS. On average, you've got maybe 3 to 5 years to go. We don't know what to do about it. There is no cure. Good luck. That was the message from the doctors. As Hiro puts it, thank you for playing, get off the field. Tough decision. Young, vibrant guy looking at the end. What do you do? Please imagine what was happening over the next 18 months to 2 years. Gradually, he lost control of his hands. Couldn't hold chopsticks, couldn't hold a pen, couldn't type. Imagine when his legs started to go, and he came in one day at work and told me, yesterday I collapsed in the street and I lay there for an hour because people thought I was some sort of drug addict and just walked past me. Imagine what it was like when he started to lose even more control of his body. And one time at home, he fell over lay against a table for 3 hours until somebody came back that could help him sit up again because he was stuck. Gradually, he was watching his body die while he was sitting inside it. And then this, the worst of all things. A little under a year ago, he was told that he needed a tracheotomy. He could no longer breathe. That meant he would lose the control of his voice. It meant that the only way he'd be able to communicate is, as he's doing now, through a computer. Unfortunately, because of the lighting, the computer's not working really great, but that is the thing that he reads and writes and communicates with all of us through. But the decision was this. You can take the tracheotomy and have forced breath, forced feeding, etc., or not. Imagine what was going on in his mind. Imagine what was going on with all of us that are close to Hiro as we began to think what that meant. The idea that you're basically sitting there, lying there, watching your body die around you and having to make a decision, the ultimate decision in his case. Because the decision was this. Either he could have the tracheotomy and go through the long-term pain of watching his body continue to wither over the next 2, 3, who knows how many years. Or he could take the short-term pain of having to say goodbye to everybody and just let go. A struggle, a deep struggle. For Hiro, one of the contradictions of being Japanese, that he lives in the country of seppuku. That he lives in a country where the death penalty is legal. He lives in a country which unfortunately has a massive suicide rate, and yet euthanasia is illegal. He didn't have the choice to take his own life because at that point he couldn't do anything about it. So he sat and thought, and he decided to live. And the inspirational thing for me was when he explained why he decided to live, because he said that he hadn't contributed anything to life yet. He had his parents, his brother, his family that he'd not really contributed to. He had his friends, he had his colleagues that he felt he could do more for. He had Japanese society that he felt he could contribute to in some way through his life and through his desire to live. As he says, the weaker he got, the more he wanted to help others. And what was interesting was that the more he lost control of his body, the more he lost his voice, he actually became louder. Because ALS, the disease that he suffers from, this terrible, terrible withering disease, ALS, is actually made him loud. It's given him a microphone to reach out and make a difference. He still works. Hiro still works for us at McCann down the road in Yamadori. He comes in on Wednesday afternoons and runs brainstorming sessions. He works with his colleagues on developing plans. He sits at home at night and we get these documents delivered at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning because 24 hours a day he seems to be on. And he's super popular. But he has a mission now. And the mission is simple. Clinical trials are just too slow. There are some people in this world, in Japan, who basically can't wait for the normal process as it is, for a very guarded and slow process. And the truth is that the Japanese process is even more slow than most other developed countries. Now, perhaps that's done in one way with a willingness and a desire by officials to take care, not take risks. But his point is that people like him are more than willing to take the risk. Give us the trials. Let us take the risk. We'll act as a living laboratory. To the government and to the researchers, he asks quite simply, allocate more funds to the research, conduct more human clinical trials, end ALS as soon as you can. So we created a cause. We end ALS. We're all wearing the T-shirts. Please buy them. Go online, see our websites. The End ALS movement is all about trying to get the government and the medical authorities to realise the desire and the need of people that have terrible, terrible diseases to help solve the problem themselves. He's lost his voice, so we drew on his friends to help. His friends from work, his old drinking buddies. the celebrities that he'd met through the course of his job, the people that he's touched around the world, and we now hold events all over the world, special running, marathon events, parties, barbecues, events all over the world to try and raise awareness and gather support. People do extraordinary things. People have tattooed themselves. We wear these t-shirts endlessly. People go to great efforts to get on board with the movement. Hiro last year wrote a book. It's called 99% Thank You. The book is basically his story and his desire and his mission. Of course, he can't read any of the book to you. So we gathered a lot of his friends, his colleagues, and a lot of celebrities that he's touched in his life. People like Char, people like Verbal, who you'll see later on this morning or this afternoon, who read the book and contributed in terms of videotaping the book for him. They became his voice. The voice is delivering a very clear and simple message. Hiro firmly believes happiness is something you feel. Nobody deserves it. Nobody should have it. You can't work to be happy. You either feel happy or you don't. Hiro believes that he feels happy because he knows he's been lucky, but he still struggles at the same time. Let me finish by asking Hiro to deliver his own message.
So, this is how I communicate now. Through a machine and friends. And I cannot complain. Life is great. 99% good. However, none of us, you nor I, are special. Anything is possible. This is more the reason why I am also very pissed off. We can do more for those who are suffering and those of you who may soon suffer with a terrible disease like mine to survive. Only if we just change our ways just a little bit. So, step 1. Japan. I humbly say 99% thank you to life. I truly do. But I also proudly say 1%, fuck you. Yeah, I said it. Fuck you, to ALS, and all the regulations preventing us from a cure. Please join me. End ALS, and let us live too. Thank you for your time.